Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds sitting on my doorstep, singing sweet songs, a melody's pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. Singing, don't worry.
Don't you worry
about a thing.
Don't you worry about a thing.
'Cause every little
thing's
gonna be alright.
Every little thing's gonna be alright.
Don't worry.
Don't you worry
about a thing.
Don't you worry about a thing.
'Cause every little
thing's
gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds sitting on my doorstep, singing sweet songs, a melody's pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. Pam loves Marley. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Yeah. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright.
Every little thing's gonna be alright.
Because every little thing is gonna be alright.
One more time.
Because every little thing is gonna be alright.
Come to that time in our service that we call our historical tribute. It's a time that
We at WOSE take out each and every Sunday to pay honor, to pay homage, to pay tribute to some significant, not necessarily famous, but significant person, place, or event in our history, African history. And we do it because we know that if we don't take the time to honor ourselves, we won't be honored. And if we don't take the time to remember what we've done, we will be forgotten. This morning, I have the extreme pleasure of inviting one of our beautiful sisters up to bring the historical tribute this morning. So please welcome with me, Sister Fanya.
And while Mama Fanya gets situated, I'll remind everybody that the litany takes place right after, so please feel free to prepare your offerings. Collect your expeditions.
Alibra, check Rose. The title of my presentation is 1850's San Francisco Rallies to Free an Enslaved African. Otherwise, subtitled The Freedom of Archie Lee. Just 156 years ago, which really isn't that long ago, on March 5th, 1858, African Americans in San Francisco were on high alert. For days, organized groups patrolled the waterfront. The groups were looking for a white man and his enslaved African who desperately wanted to be free, who were about to leave town. Many of the city's 1,000 or so African Americans headed down to the pier. What happened next was one of the most dramatic racial incidents in the pre-Civil War West. This story actually begins a year earlier in 1857, when a young white Mississippian named Charles Stovall traveled to California with this 19-year-old enslaved African named Archie Lee. During the gold rush, it was common for whites from the South to travel to California with their enslaved Africans. And although California was a free state, white visitors could come with their enslaved Africans if they were only going to stay temporarily. And the key word is temporarily. Stovall's visit was not temporary. He settled in Sacramento, opened a school, and hired out Archie Lee to make money. In the meantime, Archie learned that California was a free state and slavery was illegal. In Sacramento, Archie met people in the Colored Conventions Movement, which was a black organization that advocated for civil rights and helped runaway enslaved Africans. When Archie found out that Stovall was planning to return him to slavery in Mississippi, he ran away and took refuge at a black-owned rooming house in Sacramento called the Hackett House. While police arrested him there, the owner called two top-notch white lawyers. They argued that under state law, Archie was a free man. He had not run away in Mississippi, but in California, so he was not a fugitive and therefore was being held illegally. Stovall's lawyers argued the opposite, that because Archie was enslaved in Mississippi, his status remained the same in California. A judge agreed with Archie's lawyers and ordered him freed, but Archie was immediately rearrested because Stovall's lawyers had persuaded the state's Chief Justice, David Terry, to issue a writ requiring that the case be brought before the California Supreme Court. It was a shrewd move by Stovall's lawyers. All three of the court's justices were Democrats, and at that time the Democratic Party was the pro-slavery party, and two were violently anti-black. While Archie waited in jail for 2 weeks, awaiting the ruling, word about his case spread to San Francisco, which had the largest and best organized black community of any city in the state of California.
Wow.
When the justices ruled in Sacramento that Archie should be returned to Stovall, there was an uproar in the courtroom where the packed gallery was split 50-50. 50 were for Stovall and half of the people were supporting Archie Lee. As police escorted Archie back to prison, he tried to escape 3 times. The court's decision was greeted with widespread derision by California's mostly anti-slavery press. The justices, this is interesting, the justices acknowledged that Stovall was not by any means a temporary resident or visitor, but excused him because of his youth and inexperience. Archie Lee was 19 and Stovall was just a couple years older. The justices also said that Archie shouldn't be freed because this was the first such case to come before the court.
They didn't want to set precedent.
Meanwhile, Archie was back in Stovall's control and no one knew where he was. But everyone suspected Stovall would try to leave the area by sea, which means coming back to San Francisco. And the city's African Americans, joined by many influential whites, were determined not to let this happen. At about 11 a.m. on March 5th, 1858, a rumor spread that Archie was hidden in either North Beach or on Alcatraz Island and would be secretly transferred to one of 2 steamers as they sailed past. As the Alta California newspaper put it, 2 boats were manned with stalwart blacks determined to make a last effort to rescue their fellow from a return to slavery. The interception they planned would be legal. Patrolling the waterfront next to the city's vigilant blacks were 3 sharp-eyed police officers. A leading black citizen in San Francisco at that time, James Riker, had signed a complaint against Stovall, accusing him of kidnapping Archie. 2 justices agreed and signed a writ of habeas corpus, and a warrant was issued for Stovall's arrest. At noon that day, the steamer Orizaba prepared to leave the Vallejo Street wharf. In the large crowd, few noticed as police detectives boarded the ship. As the Orizaba sailed toward the Golden Gate, one of the detectives heard the words, "There they are," and saw someone wave a handkerchief at a rowboat approaching from the direction of Angel Island. The detective waited until the boat pulled up next to the steamer. He recognized Stovall, but could not see Archie, who had been forced to crouch down in the bottom of the boat to be kept out of sight. Just as Stovall was about to board the steamer, an associate spotted the officers and shouted a warning to Stovall, but he did not have time to get away. The detective jumped on the boat, picked up Archie, and handed him to the other officers on deck. What happened next was a near riot. Several of the passengers were pro-Stovall and tried to prevent the police from taking Archie, with at least one of the passengers stating that the detective who had picked up Archie should be killed. So they were serious. In keeping Archie Lee, and preventing Stovall from leaving California with Archie Lee and returning him to slavery. But they were outnumbered by Archie's sympathizers, including one old lady wearing spectacles who rushed in to help the detective, shouting, the detective who was arresting Stovall, shouting, "You varmints, we'll see whether free people are to be kidnapped in this way." After more legal proceedings, a federal court ruled in late 1858 for Archie Lee. He walked out of the courtroom a free man, thanks in no small part to the vigilance of the African American community of San Francisco. Whole libation in honor of Archie Lee and his perseverance in gaining freedom, and to the African American community in San Francisco in the 1850s who were just as determined to make sure he remained free.
Okay, like I said, this is kind of spontaneous Sunday, and so if it's okay with Sister Tracy, we're going to do a song. Please do a song, okay. I'm calling it spontaneous Sunday because normally the Stones rehearse every Wednesday, but we didn't get a chance to rehearse this week. And so we haven't rehearsed the song. In fact, this is a song we used to sing a long time ago, but we haven't sung it together in years, I don't think. And so we're pulling in something from the past. We hope you like it.
All right. And also, this is a song that was my grandmother's favorite song. And the first verse is sung the traditional way, or the words are from the traditional song, and the second 2 verses were done in the Wolsey style as usual. Ty Himba wrote some words to reflect us in Wolsey, but this is my grandmama's favorite song.
Yes. Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. And it's called How Great Thou Art.
Ooh, my song too. Yes.
Is that your song?
Yes. That's the thing that in church all the time.
Oh Lord my God, when I'm in awesome wonder, consider all the worlds thy hands have made.
I see the stars, and I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe display. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee.
How great thou art, how great thou art. Then sings my soul, my Savior God, to thee. How great thou art, how great thou art. Yes. Oh, Amen-Ra, I see our people suffering. This I know is because they've lost their way. Oh, yeah. Then I am glad that you've sent some to guide them, and that we have this place we call will say. Then Amen-Ra, my path is clear to me. Follow the way, we will not stray. And every day, then Amen-Ra, my path is clear to me. Follow the way, we will not stray. Oh, Amen-Ra, oh, Amen-Ra, we've got to teach our people. We've got to teach them to be strong, and that they must do their part to restore. We must restore. We were great people and feel the need for freedom in their hearts. Then Amen-Ra, my path is clear to me. Follow the way, follow the way, we will not stray. Every day, then Amen-Ra, my path is clear to me. Follow the way, we will not stray. Follow the way, I will not stray.
Very well done. Very well done, brother. Brother Timba and Sister Conte. And I'm sure they haven't had a chance to rehearse that in a while, but it was not a problem. This is the time known as the Litany of Sacrifice. And it offers us an opportunity to give back a portion of that which we have received for the week. And as you all know, we use these sacrifices to maintain this building, keep the water on, keep the lights on, keep the heater on, and that heater works well, doesn't it? It's good to have a nice heater when you need one. And so We give thanks for these sacrifices. This morning's inspirational reading comes as you prepare your sacrifices. It's taken from the Hosea, from the book Katie. And on page 51, paragraph number 4 and paragraph number 6. Katie says, "Speak truth in your house, that the princes of the earth may respect you. Righteousness is fitting for a ruler, for it is in the front of the house that it inspires respect in the back. Do that which is right. You may live long upon the earth. Comfort the weeper, and oppress not the widow. Drive no one away from the property of his or her father. Defraud not the nobles of their property. Beware of punishing unjustly. Do not kill, for it will not profit you." And Katie goes on and says in paragraph number 6, "One generation succeeds another, and God, who knows human nature, is hidden. One cannot avoid or oppose the hand of God. He reaches all that the eyes see. Thus one should revere God on his path, as a dry water course is replaced by a stream. So no river allows itself to be concealed. It breaks the barrier behind which it was hidden. So too the soul comes to the place that it knows and strays not from its former path." And that passage caught my attention because it's very much in line with what Brother Shango shared in class from our visit with Ministers Greggs and the group that he's working with their presentation yesterday. Some of the thoughts that came out of there that remained with us, and Brother Shango was commenting on that similar concept this morning, and Brother Jahi addressed it in his class, and that a spirit, and how knowing what the Spirit wants us to do. And Dr. Nobles so nobly said it yesterday, that we should work to know what our spirit wants us to know. And so I see this all in that same vein. And we give thanks for those readings. We thank Ketty for those passages. And Ketty is really one of the really informative writers in Hosea. He and Pitahotep, they are very direct. They speak very direct in their advice to the people that they were training. Many of the people they trained were young pharaohs. So we give thanks for that reading. We give thanks for the sacrifices. And we have prepared and are waiting at the altar. We've got Mama Fanya, and she's nobly assisted by Princess Jahi. We have Brother Tamba and Brother Hassan providing some background music for us. And if we could all stand, we could find a copy of the Litany of Sacrifice, which is in the black binder, page number 15. Now that's just for reference for those that haven't memorized the litany by now. But the litany is a very beautiful piece of writing. It is a writing that one opens oneself up to the Creator and beseeches the Creator for that which we want, desire, and hope for. And so, if we could all read together. Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we repay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up a cup of salvation and call upon God, our ancestors. We will fulfill our vows to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly we bring our sacrifices to you. We will praise your name, O Mother Ra, for its good. Moja, unity. We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Self-determination. We shall define and create and be ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our community together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujima, cooperative economics. Together we shall build and maintain our own businesses, and together profit from them.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and development of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Creativity. We shall do as much as we can in any way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it.
Together,
Iman and faith.
we shall believe with all our hearts in our Creator,
our people, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle.
kneeling pads have been laid at the front of the altar. The candles of the Nguzo Saba are burning brightly, reflecting the principles of our movement here at the Wose community. Others, you may assume a comfortable position at your chair, and I'll take a few moments to bless these sacrifices while Brother Tim, Brother Hassan, and Brother Jeffrey continue to provide some nice melodic music for us. Candles on the altar of soul inspiration provided such a nice, warm, soft glow this morning for us as we prepare our hearts and minds for prayer and meditation. O Holy One, great God of the cosmos, you who came into being and brought into being. We thank you, O Holy One, for this creation. We thank you, O Holy One, for raising up life out of our homeland. We thank you, O Holy One, for bringing forth humanity out of the lineage of our ancestors that allows us to be connected to that continual linkage to the very dawn of humanity. We thank you, O Holy One, for entrusting that genius, that nugget of life in the continent of Africa and among African people. We thank you for that work, O Holy One. We realize that over the years that we have, and our people oftentimes have suffered greatly for being African, but we stand ever proud, ever unapologetically, ever worshiping and remembering our ancestors, the great legacy that they built, but the trust that you placed in them, O Holy One. It was not out of the continent of Eurasia, Australia. It was out of the continent of Africa. And when we look upon our maps today, we look upon the globes, we see that the longitudinal and the latitudinal lines merge in Africa, placing the African continent in the middle of the earth, the great centerpiece for the Creator, that Africa would always be there when the ancestors looked down on this planet. And we know, O Holy One, that we have not been forgotten. But we pray that you continue to remain with us, that you continue to raise up great leaders and teachers and educators and spokesperson for our people, to continue to remind us of who we are, to continue to clarify the confusion, the lies, the ignorance, and the darkness that we may find ourselves. Be with us, the Holy One, throughout the remainder of the service, throughout the remainder of the day. Blessings and protection for all the members of the Wilson community, those here and those abroad. Bless our sister community in Sacramento as they gather to praise and worship your name, O Holy One. Be with the one that will come and share information and provide questions that we enlighten and enlarge ourselves in a spiritual dialogue. Let us open our hearts and minds to receive that message and to share that which we have to share. Again, thank you, Holy One, and be with us. Ashe. Amen.
Scared.
Not your first ma'am.
Morning, Jose.
Good morning, Jahi.
Hope everybody's doing well.
Yep.
Yeah, we are.
This side of glory.
I like that. Let me adjust this.
Just to let you know, Yvonne, you don't need the mic. I got you over here.
Do not?
You don't need that mic. I got you over here.
Cool.
Unless you want to.
Don't play that.
Yep.
Yo, girls, huh? So, there's a lot to say today. So we have dialogue, and it's good to be back here. I've been bouncing around a little bit. This is the first time in a long time I actually feel really hectic. There's a lot going on. Just bouncing around. We came back for a track meet last weekend, and indoor meeting in Boise, and folks did really well. Bakari ran really well. Kara actually finished. She's now ranked number 12 in the country. That was don't know, Bakari is a senior graduating this year. And yeah, it's good for him to kick him out the house. And for those who don't know, the college process got a lot more complicated.
Oh yeah.
You know, when I was younger, it was just fill out some forms, put in the mail,
Yep.
pretty much a wrap.
Yep.
You know, and now it's a lot more. So you have like early admission and early acceptance and regular. So we applied to a number of colleges early on in the year, and he's gotten 8. He's 8 for 8 so far. He's got 8 offers back. He's got 6 full academic rides.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and he's got a couple partial offers, and we're waiting for the rest to come through in April 1st, and then we'll start making some decisions. Been writing scholarships since January, so like every single week, writing scholarships for somebody, just keeping all the options open. So really hectic. Kepper is graduating. He just had the HSPT test. He scored in 90th percentile. So a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, excellent.
So but it's not easy. You got to do a lot of work, you know. So today's dialogue is there was a comment that Baba Dafo made in the kitchen last week, and he said, you know what, I think this is an important time. This is a historic time, and I know there are moments when we look back and study history. There are times when there are events that come together, and you recognize those after the fact that was important. Maybe 20 years ago, 100 years ago, and sometimes it will reflect, because we're all here historians. If you're going to come to Woza, you got to be a historian. That's what brought you here in part. And we sometimes reminisce on other time periods. You know, if I was there, I wish I would have been, standing next to Malcolm. For those who maybe stood next to him, I didn't. I wish I was there at the building of that first Tekken, or I wish I could have seen a bro with Angola and Zinga on her war against the Portuguese. I wish I was there. Right? Because those are important time periods, and certainly we want to reflect on them, but it also diminishes the time that we exist right now.
Yes.
And so I want us to take a moment and be mindful that this right here is a moment. And it's a moment that you may not capture again. We may not have a moment when we have Mama Rose in the kitchen every day. That's a special moment. There might be a moment we have Mama Rose in the kitchen, Mama Pam handling the finances, working with the girls, Mama Ngina coming through, Baba Damu teaching jazz band, teaching kids how to get on the piano and traps. You may not have this again. You may have a moment when Brother Sidney comes on Tuesday and just boot dance. Right? So you got to recognize moments that you're in. So I want to take some time to just do that real briefly. There's a couple of things that cause. I'm wearing our kids' shirt.
I saw that.
Right. So we had new uniforms done today. This year, and they made me uniforms. Oh, that's cool. I ain't walking around like the kids in the day, but I was getting dressed this morning. I thought this would be a good day to wear it because there's a lot of. I was in class this week and just watching the kids move around. And they just look good now. I mean, they just look good now. You look at the girls here, and I'm partial to my girls too. They just look good. They got a good vibe about them. We got some pictures back, and I'm gonna pause and hold this around a little bit. But for those who don't know, we got 90 plus kids here this year. It's a lot of kids. And I saw this picture upstairs. They got a frame. And I'm going to pass around a little bit. I'll just walk around with it. But just take a moment and just look at the faces.
Yeah.
Right? And recognizing that this is your school.
Sure.
These are the kids that you teach every single day. That when folks talk about the work of Marcus Garvey and the Nation of Islam and all those folks, that I recognize that you do that every day. A lot of people, on black faces. And what gives me joy is that some people say things aren't as they seem. You can have a nice looking couple, and you get in their house and they crazy.
Yeah.
That's not a reference to see, of course. But what gives me joy is the fact that behind that is some kids who really like being here.
Yes.
That's true.
Right? It's not just a pretty picture. And there's a lot of kids just walking around. Yeah, I love you, Mom. I love you, Baba. That's not you. That's not typical. It's not typical of the places. It's typical here, and that's kind of cool. A lot of folks came out. The City Hall gave us, not me, gave us proclamation of our work. Says that the City of Oakland hereby recognizes and commends Ile Omide for their outstanding achievement in educating Oakland youth by members of the Woze Community Church. That's us. Right? Big deal. It's a big deal. I remember Spike Lee said, I don't need no Oscar or whatever it was. And it's true. You don't. But when it does come, hey, cool. We can eat bologna sandwiches all day, but you get some go, boy, it's a little better.
And they also recognized you, and that's important too.
Recognize us.
They also recognized you. You gotta own that.
Right on, sis. So a lot of good stuff. So I say, let's be amazed, but let's stand reminded. I'm sure you will recognize this comes when it says, you too will know the temptation to become takers. The rest, all of you, as us, everybody else, your children, their children after them, and generations after them again and again. That's called an infinite. All will be victims to the way is found again.
Come on now.
The return to our way, the way.
Yes.
That's a reminder to us. And that reminds us that, and this is from where, y'all? 2000. We gotta say it again.
Yeah,
2000 is powerful. But it reminds us that until we do our work,
That's right.
we all gonna be victims.
Yes.
Every one of us. Say that because destruction surrounds us. This is the teachings from 2000 seasons. So our teaching. Doesn't take much for it to unravel. When you have those moments, they are moments because they get unraveled. Say everything can't last forever. So it's inevitable, the unraveling that is. But we want it to be somewhat controlled by us, not eliminated. The scaries are lurking. Those who study 2000 seasons, you know what that term means, the scar. We say that the way only destroys destruction. There's a process, when you strip down and study the book, there's a process by which a person becomes that Ascari. There is those who are lazy. So they're identified. Brothers that don't want to do anything. Sisters that don't want to do anything. See, sometimes I'm also reading, it pains me. I'm reading, I did a class on Black critical thought. Actually, it was just critical thinking. And I used in that class a number of different texts. I used one article that spoke to a school district in Shaker Heights, it's a Cleveland suburb, that is a very affluent neighborhood. And it's an interesting case study because you have both whites and black families that are affluent families. Their school district is one of the best ones in the country. Across any measure, it's been that way for a long time. So everybody's feeling good. And there was an article that was published, this was many years ago, published about the black-white achievement gap in Shaker Heights. And the black parents, the affluent black parents, you know how we are. We got upset. Folks calling us out. And long story short, they made a phone call to a brother John Akbu, a professor at Cal.
He's ancestor now.
And they called him out. They said, we'd like you to come and help us out. What are your suggestions? He says, I'm not an educator. I'm a researcher. That's not what I do. It's like, well, we've seen your work, we want you to come. Okay. He comes out. He brings in his team of research assistants. The school district, which is concerned about this, they pay for the whole thing. Parents support him, so he comes in and he brings his team. They get embedded. This is what you call active field research. They get embedded in the community. They live in the community for about 5 months or so, and they run a time period while they're living there. They go to PTA meetings, they go to classes, they interview various people, they go to basketball games. They're all over, really engaged. And when they're all done, they gather up all their findings, they publish their result. And their result was very simple. And black parents was upset. It's funny, it's very simple. Your kids don't work hard, and you don't care enough. It's a nice thick book. I encourage you, if you have interest, read it. I'm digging through it right now. But that sums up the entire book. Kids don't work hard enough, and you don't care. That's the deep part. So we start with, and this is what Equal Army does, he starts with this notion of the folks who just lazy. They just don't want to do anything. Because there's always those folks in the community. When we underperform, it's because we're just being lazy. From lazy, he has this term, and he says, we go to scaries, and in the book it talks about those who are used by others to destroy our people, keep our people at bay. And from there, those scaries are defeated, and then they become zombies. Because now they are walking around the community without purpose. So zombies.
Say that.
I mean, there's movement, there's no life, but they just exist. So it's an older book, but you have to look at our community. The zombies that exist amongst us. Now they don't remain. Now if they just remain the zombies, we might be okay. I jokingly, maybe I should, but I jokingly sometimes say I reminisce on the days of the pimp, because they had rules.
Yep.
You know, when I was growing up in the 70s, you would see the cats. Funny story. We were over at track meet in Houston. I'm trying to do a few things when the meet's not going on, so we went down to some mall to go, team, go hang out at the mall. And so we're walking through the mall, and Kukepper, I think this was maybe like 2-3 years ago, he's walking through the mall, he goes, ooh, Bob, look at that magician. So, look at that magician over there. That's not a magician, it's a pimp. Because the hat and the colors on. They had rules though, you know, they didn't go crazy. They went crazy and they're confined, you know. But, so zombies become cripples. So we go from that, you're just dysfunctional. You wounded, you hurt, right? And this last phase of it, it reminds us, called the ostentatious cripples.
Oh, the ostentatious.
When you take your disability, right, and you make it into a mark of pride.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Now, some way, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You are messed up, but you reshape it, redefine it. Such, he says, was the Scari's life. Their bodies having thus been used to draw them into a state of mindless physical strength. I don't remember when I was growing up seeing cats walking around with their shirts off. Just all day long. Just, who are you flexing for? No shirt, pants down. So mindless physical strength having sufficed to turn their state itself into a purpose for these aimless creatures. Last Thursday, so we've been busy. So Thursday, problem with my car. I left here at lunchtime to go put the car in the shop. This is around the corner. And I got a call from Kelly. Got to come back to school. I haven't gone 5 minutes, maybe 6. Just up the street. Came back here, and as I approached, this is Holly 90, corner over here. I see some police gather around, some guys on the ground, and police cars, an ambulance, and then I passed that corner, come over to the church, and I turn the corner here. There's a couple of police cars in the street. And one of the teachers is talking to a police officer in the corner. So I go, walk over, insert myself, and know what's going on. And so a number of things happen as I'm gathering the story up and also sharing what happened. So apparently there was a car that was parked next block over. By next block over, I mean like 2 houses away. I don't mean like next block over. So I'll say to parents, oh, it's the next block over. It's just 2 houses over there. So several cats was parked there, and there was some shooting that took place. Kids heard it. Teachers on yard heard it. Got everybody inside, so everybody was safe. But then we found out as the story goes on, one of the teachers saw my brother running and was sharing that with a police officer. And he ran past the AT&T building, and he got into a car, and that car drove off. So then, because I had seen the folks in the corner over here, I was like, let's go see if it's one of them. So police officer said, hey, decent idea. Okay. So we walk around the corner, go up here, and the scene is one in which apparently, as I piece it together, this one young brother has gotten hit. He's one of the cats that got shot, nipped in the leg. So he's on the ground, and he's laughing. You know, exactly. And he doesn't want any medical attention. He's providing no statements to the police at all. And apparently there was another brother that was helping him out. That's all he was doing, being helpful to the cat that got shot. There's also several young ladies who apparently are related to this brother that got shot, friends, cousins, I don't know. And as we turn the corner, one of the teachers identifies the guy who was helping the one that got shot. That's one of them.
One of the shooters?
There's a lot of shooters. I'm going to tell you, that's one of them. So because of the identification, he gets handcuffed, put in the car immediately. His mama's there. Why y'all arrested my baby and do nothing? That whole piece for a little while. Police asked him, you know, he had to cry. Nah, I mean, besides just some drugs, because he on probation. But besides the drugs and yeah, he don't want probation, but he don't shoot no. But nobody's saying anything to the police. So I just stand in the middle while they talk, and I start talking to the mother. So, what happened to your son? Did you see him when he came over here? No. I thank the Lord. I just happened to be leaving my house at the right time, and I came down and I saw my son, and he's with this other boy that he didn't have nothing to do with. They're friends. Have nothing to do with. And he was saying to this other boy, we can make it. But he had nothing to do with him. So hearing this, I tell police, you know, that's that boy's mother. They live up the street. The gun and he also had a gun, but he didn't have it on him. The gun is probably between here and the house 2 blocks away. So they then get on the phone, he's on parole, so they can kind of rules of how things go. You can just search at rental, they can go search his house. While that's going on, because we identified the truck that this person had jumped into, within about a half hour, they found that car and got that person secured. I don't know if he got arrested, but they stopped him and investigated there. And then some more girls come over. Another girl who's apparently the girlfriend to the boy that got shot. She's hysterical. And I listened to her story. So now it starts to unfold. So apparently, the car over here, some cats sit in the car, 3 folks walk past the car, there was some exchange or something. They start firing on these 3 people. The girl goes down to National Boulevard, the bullet goes through her jacket. Now for many of us, these are points of revelation.
Yes.
I mean, her thinking was, oh shit, he didn't get me.
Oh, wow.
I'm thinking bullet can't. I'm changing my lifestyle. But anyway, she goes that way.
Right.
The guy gets nicked, he gets shot, and he goes past Mama Fanya's house to the corner, turns here. That's when he falls over here. That's when I saw him over there. The third guy kept running this way, and they kept shooting at him.
All while the babies are on the yard.
Yeah, keep that in mind. And while he's running, that's why I said there's many shooters. The one that was getting shot at, he also had a gun. So when the teacher sees him, he's covering his gun with his jacket, and just as the other car that was shooting drives off, another car comes behind that, and he jumps right in that car. He mentioned this to the police. They said, oh, you know, I guess he was getting him a ride. Getting a good swim. Ain't nobody getting nobody a ride out here.
Exactly.
What world you live in?
Exactly.
So all this is all happening.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so you wrap all this up, and at one point we're talking to one police officer. Nice, they're all nice. They're all very nice. Talking to one police officer, and we're upstairs, and I'm just seeking some ideas. And it's clear because I'm saying this to him because he was sitting there, he heard the kids singing in their classroom. He said, oh, it reminds me of my kids when they were in class. It was just really good to hear the blah, blah. So, what do you think we could do? What's your suggestions? I think we can implement it because, it might be expensive. I don't know. He says, in my ideal world, I would put a force field over the school.
Not a force
Exactly.
In my ideal world.
Exactly.
I don't think they sell those at Costco.
They don't sell those. They don't sell
Exactly.
those. Yeah.
Exactly. Walmart.
Right. Maybe Walmart.
Yeah, hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Force field.
Force field.
What is that? What is it?
You must not read comic books. And Walmart stars. You gotta get more stars. You're reading them.
I don't know.
You're reading all them deep books. You gotta leave Marcus books alone.
Exactly.
You gotta go to the theater.
Exactly.
Watch some Avatar, some Star Trek, some quality cinema.
Exactly.
Get your learning on.
Exactly.
I got some learning, but I like.
No, you don't have to learn on. You know what a force field is? Force field.
Fantastic thing.
Yeah, exactly. You know?
Having like a dome.
It comes in various forms. It comes as a device, and you press the button, and it has this invisible shield that envelops you, and you can't get in or out. Bullets hit it, bounce off.
Right.
There's oxygen that's contained within the force field, right? You walk out, you come back in.
Exactly.
You know, they got individual modes too for yourself.
Yes. Yep.
Activated by a button on your belt. You know, just press the button. You know, you probably seen sisters using it, walking down the street, and they just see a brother go, right?
Right.
It's a little humming sound. No, I'm messing with you.
I know. I didn't know that serious.
But he was. So that's part of police training, you know. Community assistance, you know. You see force fields. So,
Wow.
so I walk. Thank you.
Yeah, that energy, man.
And I walk away, and we got nothing. And so we send out notice to parents, let them know what happened. But the truth is, we don't have a force field.
We are force field.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Raise the
But in terms of stopping bullets,
Yeah. Right.
you can form a concrete wall, maybe. You can do that.
Have we ever canvassed this neighborhood?
We have at various points in time. We're going to get to that. But anyway, with that situation, Larry Reed, our council, apparently he has a police radio banners of them,
Right.
and then so he came away pretty quick. He was like, I heard the address. I mean, I give him a lot of credit. He's covered our back.
He's the public safety commissioner. He's been there for years.
Wow. So he said he heard the address.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's my school, and he came on over. So you gotta give him a lot of credit. And he began to talk about, I guess they had an event, that event last Friday, 2 Fridays ago, that he was responsible for getting Betsy Coleman honored. And that there was some conversation about the 100 black men in school that closed down. There's been some slight discussion about how the building could be used, could we use it. So he started that conversation again. I don't think anything's going to happen from that because it's complicated. But I'm just saying that to say that this is a person that does support us. You know. So that's a big deal. So all these things happen on Thursday. And so, you know, in the background here, Oakland, in terms of homicides, a little safer. Homicides went down last year. We are in an unfortunate place because it's a great area for crime.
Yep.
It's a great area for crime.
Yep.
You know, one is it's a pretty much absentee block. You know, you get church here, you got AT&T. They have absolutely no presence whatsoever. There's only one morning I came in as a police officer parked across the street. That's when I had something to say to him about something, and we talked a little bit, and he let me know that he is in a car by himself and he has responsibility for this area.
And how big is the area?
The area is from like San Leandro to Bancroft,
Oh, wow.
going that way, and then over to I want to say 106, and then I think 73rd.
Overwhelmed.
So you check out the homicides, just all this stuff.
Right.
I mean, he running around crazy, I'm sure.
Right. Overwhelmed.
And he even described times when he heard there's a robbery in progress, and he goes there to the robbery. He's getting out of his car, boom, boom, hears some gunshots. He got to leave there, and he got to go to gunshots. He's just being honest.
Yes.
It's just I can't do everything,
Right.
you know. So it's set up in that way. So it's unfortunate. Culture is talking to the folks on the corner. You're not gonna work with the police. You know why? Because getting a gunshot, whoo, that's my badge.
Yep. Yep.
That's my badge.
Yep.
Ostentatious cripples. That means something.
But can we also say that there's an element of distrust that has been earned by the police.
That's right.
Because my block is a very safe block, but we had a shooting a couple of weeks ago, and who was it? The police. So they came and they shot somebody, and they're not, and so I guess I'm just saying, maybe it's not as cut and dry.
Yeah, I'm just saying, to me, it's I'm gonna say 100 to 1 ratio. I think it's more than that. Number of times brother get killed by another brother, number of times get shot by police, 100 to 1, maybe 200. It's a lot to 1. But I don't think this is aimed at the police. It's aimed at us, which is don't snitch on us.
Right.
Yep.
I think those two things exist, but I don't want to oversimplify the
For me personally, and we could all disagree, but I think it requires simplification because it really is that simple.
Yeah.
Right. So when we are going after each other for stuff that we're doing, when we're not working with police apprehension, because that's why I say the folks that we're talking about, and certainly everybody's somebody's baby, but everybody's baby ain't good.
Yep.
We talked about being lazy, the cornerstone of this. We got folks who are doing nothing in production. Now we certainly have hope that we can turn that around for folks, but in the interim, we're gonna suffer.
Yep.
In the interim, while we trying to turn this thing around, potentially we got kids that can get hit. That's real. And in that situation, I'm not worried about the police shooting our kids. I'm worried about all the other ostentatious cripples shooting our kids.
Yes.
But here's the problem that I see in this perspective. I don't see how we can have a divide where we talk about the history of oppression on one hand and understand how that history of oppression has made the arrested development of our people come about. And then on the other hand, when the arrested development expresses, then we want to say that it's just a people. And that the history that we so proudly talk about, that they oppressed us, they did this, and they brought about our arrested development. But when the arrested development is expressed, and we know where the source of it, then we want to talk about a simplification of laziness, which is nothing but a waste paper basket. It doesn't explain anything about the source of the behavior or the solution for the behavior. And we know that the police are not the friends of the black community, and that is why people don't trust them. But if you're middle class and you can approach the police with a middle class stance, then you get a middle class respect back. But most of the people who have arrested development are not middle class. So I'm saying I can't deal with, hearing the blame the victim kind of stuff. When we, on the other hand, sit around and glorify and talk about how we were oppressed and how that caused the arrested development. Then when we see it in action, we want to blame the people without understanding that where it came from. No, our people don't like the police. I don't like the police. I don't like them when they shoot our people down. It's a gun. Oh no, it's just a wallet. It's a cell phone. That happens too much. The people do not have respect for the police, and with good reason, and they have righteous anger. So I'm saying that it is a simplification to talk even about laziness, because it has to do with the history of not being able to work, the history of being forced to work and not wanting to do that anymore. What kind of work can they do? What kind of education have they been driven into so that they can't work? So it really angers me to hear that kind of blaming the victim stuff about the people being so bad, and not having a middle class stance, because they don't. And then those of us who might have it, can point the finger.
I'm going to say this is why it's so important to study. And this is why I so appreciate Igwe Elmer's work. Because we have to get outside of our box, this American box. Yeah. We sometimes talk as if we know this to not be the case. We sometimes talk as our first awakening was as slaves. Our analysis goes before that. There was preconditions in our community that allowed, I'm talking about within Africa, that allowed whites to come into our community. Had nothing to do with white people. They took advantage of conditions in our community and exploited them. So understand that piece. When we talk about folks being lazy, that's had nothing to do with white folks. White folks not even a picture in the conversation historically at that point. That's one piece to understand. The second piece is, and this is my perspective, you may disagree, but I believe that at the end of the day, we have to save ourselves.
Yes.
I save our people. And we can spend all day analyzing what white folks have done, will do, but you understand, when you understand that people historically, groups are always at war over finite resources, that we are at war. And when you lose war, you don't blame the folks that conquered you, you gotta retool yourself. And so I'm saying we gotta protect our community. We gotta stop throwing blame on other folks. That's what I'm saying here. If we can talk about the police, but I'm gonna jump to the fact that my context today is how do we protect these babies? That's it. Now certainly there could be some healing that takes place. That's necessary, perhaps, but on a daily basis, at any point in time, there could be a bullet that comes through that fence. And it's not the police I'm worried about.
Yes.
And on any given day of the week, I'm not even thinking about the police. So let's stay at that place.
Because we do have a responsibility to drag ourselves out of that mess and do something about it. You said, it is a two-edged sword. We do have to raise our consciousness and don't give the police a reason. We have to.
But we have to embrace
One second, Mom. What's that?
No, I'm not saying we don't embrace the people. We have to help those people that need help.
Exactly.
Two suggestions that I thought about for the last week. One, a plexiglass fence, which I don't know how much that costs, but it seems like that's something that can happen really, really quickly and give some immediate protection to kids just outside playing every day on their recess. And the patrol of our men here in our church. One thing that was really cool, I was here on Thursday and thankfully I did not witness any of this, but as a black woman, it was very refreshing to see black men go and handle it. I mean, there's a lot of mamas here, and we all were involved as well, but the men here, they took control. When we had, Baba Adolfo chasing the guy down the street saying, "Don't you know this is a school?"
Right.
So as a woman,
And what was
it
his
was very
response?
nice to be protected by my black men. And I would like to challenge you all to take that a step further and do like the Muslims do. The police, they even if they loved us to death and they wanted to help us, they don't have the resources. So I would love to see at least a quote for plexiglass to see how hard and how expensive is that, and perhaps to see some of you men get together in your spare time and decide which 2 hours a day or week will you take to stand on that corner and be a presence and let the community know that these children are cared for and protected, and there will be repercussions for accidents that happen on this block.
And I would say not that we could do it every single day. We don't have those kind of resources, but I do know and you've heard it's the broken window theory. Is that familiar? Okay. So in the same way that sometimes just having an occasional presence on a regular basis is enough to mend that window. And this idea that when windows are broken, it encourages more windows to be broken. It encourages an act of crime against a neighbor because they feel like it's being unprotected, unsupported. And so just having an occasion could be just maybe on a Wednesday, folks come out for a couple hours and walk the neighborhood, talk to folks and walk on the street, just so they know. Yes, sir.
I am very pleased that the federal court has said that in California, hopefully don't go to the California Supreme Court, but they can move forward with people, citizens such as myself, who are trained with weapons, can have a concealed weapon. I am not going to come in East Oakland and walk around without my 357 on my hip. So as soon as they make that available, and I can carry a concealed weapon in public, I'll be more than happy to step on that corner or the other corner. But I must be armed when I do it because these folks out here going to be armed. I'm not just walking around here unarmed.
And I'm going to say my experience in the neighborhood is that when you approach folks respectfully and they understand and they feel your spirit, frankly, if we get into a shootout, you're gonna lose. Just if folks want to be crazy, but my experience being here every day is that just talking to folks is sufficient. We come in the morning, somebody's laying on the steps over here. You just ask them nice, say the school is about to open up. Could you, take off? No problem. Then they leave. They leave within a minute. They're gone. We've had folks walking the streets up and down. They're high. They're looking for a car to break into, and you just walk out. How you doing, brother? Can I help you with something? Oh, I'm fine. Everything okay? Everything I'm fine. And they just keep on walking. Those acts right there are repairing the window.
Yes.
It's just letting folks know people are here and we're observing. And sometimes that's enough. I'm talking to Tracy.
Well, living here,
knowing, because I walk this neighborhood all the time. I walk that way, I walk that way, and I have people that I talk to all the time. You know, I never feel the need to be strapped with anything, because if anything, I know that I'm protected, because I'm walking in righteousness. And I have talked to, when I walk down here on the corner, if those brothers are drinking, they immediately put their stuff down. Good morning, mama, how you doing? Right? Respect. And I always have something to say, you guys take care of yourself. You know, let's take care of things. And so if we walked around with the idea that we have to be strapped, that means that we're looking for that shootout. You know, and so there are people around here that are so compassionate. They really are. A lady walks by my house sometime. One morning I said, where you going? She said, downtown. I said, girl, I go downtown too. Let me drive you. I don't even know her name, and she has ridden with me about 6 times. But we talk about the care about this community. So there are a lot of older people in this community, a lot of old homeowners around here. It's the young people that need help. You know, it's the young people. They're targeting each other, not us. Now, we could be in the way, get in the way of some gunfire, but they're not targeting us. So we did have some Muslims one time that came to this neighborhood when one of theirs got killed. And these brothers walked this neighborhood for like a week. And I mean, I was like, can you guys come back all the time? Because it was like, you on your best behavior now because of brothers in here. You know, so we need that kind of love, that kind of, you know, stand up and be present. You know, maybe some of us may have to die. I don't know. You know, certainly getting out of enslavement, some of us had to die.
Yeah, it's true.
But we were determined to get someplace. You know. So, but I live in this neighborhood, and I love my neighbors, and we talk all the time about what can be done around here, and we make our presence known.
Yeah. And we talked a little bit about in class about some projects, but you know, even having like some black Wolves AT with our logo, and I say most folks here, y'all working busy all day, but you know, if there was maybe one Saturday a month, there's a Wednesday you can come through, a couple of folks get together and just walk the neighborhood with some Wolves AT shirts. And like you said, describe what you have done, do the same thing. It doesn't need to be every single day, but something to think about. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
My apologies.
I think that what Mama Akanke is saying is very important. There was a brother who lives in West Oakland that I know who, you know, on the corner across from his house, you know, brothers have been congregating and doing what they do, and he walked over them very politely, you know, like he said, and said, hey, brother, you know, whatever y'all doing, can y'all not do it here? This is a community, da-da-da-da. And the brothers told him, you know what, nobody's ever talked to us and really told us about that. You know, we find spaces wherever, but nobody told us it is not okay for you to be here doing this. So just that statement of fact. And the nice thing about him is he understands the very complicated realities of the situation that we're in, and I think that's part of what folks try to communicate at the onset of the conversation. But along those same lines, when we think about going out and actually talking to people, and like you're talking about canvassing the neighborhood and making our presence in this community known, I'd like to suggest that we research what other things are people doing all over the country, because we're not the only people that are having this problem. Chicago, Detroit, LA, you know, like places all over the country are having the same problem, and folks are addressing the issue in various ways. Community involvement is one thing, community beautification, which we have an effort towards, is another. Holding organizations that are in the community accountable, like AT&T. They won't respond. They're a very huge part of the problem that's making our community look blighted. Call them out. You know, marketing is very big for them. Call them out and let folk know they ain't doing what they're supposed to do. You know, but figuring out what exactly are those tactics that are used, and I'm not talking about taking a year to research that. I'm talking about find out and then sign up and let's do it. And, you know, in terms of the canvassing, like I will stop work, and I work from home, but I will stop work in the middle of the day to come out. I will put it on my calendar to come out and help canvass the community, if that's something that folks want to join in.
And the other piece, and you mentioned it, is about beautifying our neighborhood too. You know, because AT&T, I mentioned this to some of you before, AT&T has the exact same building. Exactly the same fence, same little intercom as you go in, looks exactly the same over on 40th and Telegraph. And that one has grass in front, a couple of trees. Its front looks much better than this one over here does. So they are an absentee neighbor, and they hold them accountable for something. You know, from either paying or helping to beautify, from trees lining the neighborhood. There are a lot of things we can do to make the neighborhood look better. Folks who are in this neighborhood know our school is here, and they do behave differently when they're going past our school. It's always been that way. We've never had to remind kids, we've never had trouble with somebody coming to the fence, acting a fool in front of them. It's really never happened, because there is some respect for what's going on here every day. But there should, we had discussed it, we have a beautification committee, but a much more intensive effort to close that out. You know, to have a vision for, here's how we want this 2 or 3 block corridor to look, and here's how we're going to get resources to bring that to it. Whether that's trees, garbage cans lined up, do some mural work that could be done, maybe on the plexiglass, so it even looks nicer. You know, so a lot of things we can do in that regard. But then Senator Barr, and then Samina.
I love the Wolsey Constitution because it calls out for a Commissioner of Intelligence and Security. And so I'm looking for that commission to become stronger. And part of that commission's calling, I think, is to protect our assets universally, not just here in Oakland, but universally. And so I would say that as our economic commissioner gets stronger, you know, as the monies grow, as the treasury grows, you'll have monies for things like security guards, or even part of our male rights of passage might include how to, you know, protect yourself. You know, I'm looking long term. Again, the near term of people getting, you know, shot, mugged, whatever, is really much around us. But a long-term solution, I think, is again going to our Constitution and building out those organs that'll make us self-sufficient and protect ourselves.
And I'll remind us too, what's the phrase, OPM, other people's money. And we can use other folks' money for this. AT&T got money, the city has money, they do. If there's, you know, those blockades they put in the intersections, I mean, there are a lot of things that the city should be able to do as well too, without us having to worry about drawing from our pockets, and we can get that money pretty soon. Stamina and Mama Fanya.
Yeah, the Muslim brothers have a uniform look that commands respect, and I think that's an ideal presentation for walking the community. That if not the European shirt and tie, then the concept of the Uleo Day shirts
Well, I said
would probably command respect, and I would feel better as that, using that as a shield, walking around and just being out there, for example. Another rule of thumb in Chicago, if you see the police gather anywhere, you go the opposite way. So just putting that out there. You know, I worry about us driving into a shielded policeman in the community, because any bullet might get you. You don't know whose it could be. So it's a rule of thumb. Go the opposite way when you see them gather.
Mama Fanya, we want to take a couple more because we can continue talking during our fellowship.
I mean, another, you know, when we're addressing the problem of our crime on each other, you know, as being an educational institution, knowing that when children come out of love and care and a purpose, that things are better. That there has got to be some way, we should be appalled, you know, not only by our school systems, but what is actually being taught in our school systems as well. Because some of the problem, what arises from, we've got too many young girls. I mean, we're generational now in the sense of the absentee father. So you've got these girls and these boys having babies as if they're in an M&M factory. You know, and I remember one brother used to go here, Monachim, and he was teaching at Castlemont. he was like a gentle giant for a minute. Then he said, I need to take a hunting knife to school because these children are crazy, right? He said, they don't need math. These girls need know how to take care of their children. And these boys need to learn that you sitting in class talking about, well, I got 2 or 3 babies. It's not a badge.
Okay.
That is one of our core problems, because you have children that are coming up and they are being misguided. They're being, forget the slave master. You've got the parent now that's calling the children out of their names, and they don't know how to take care of these children. They have no map, no guideline for where these children are supposed to be going, and so I don't care how many trees we put out there. If that continues to happen, it grows and it grows. And now that we're under such economic, constraints in regards to our people having money, the crime can get worse because desperation grows. And so, how do we address that? Because that is big. Because a lot of these, like the woman talking about, oh my baby. What you mean, oh my baby? Your baby got a gun. If that were my son, I'd be like, well, first of all, it wouldn't have been my son. First.
Start right there.
But if it would have been my son, then when he got back to me, it'd have been no, oh baby, what? And so we have to address that. I don't know what is addressing it in Oakland, but all these children being born and coming up, and they gotta go to school. I feel bad and sorry for some of these teachers in the school because they don't even have permission to snatch a child that is being disrupted. So that's another.
Let's take 3 more, and then we have to wrap up. Let's go right here. Let Damo.
Okay, I just kind of want to sum up some of the ideas that I've been hearing and how those ideas can be reconciled. Because there's definitely been some conflicting ideas. I kind of want to talk about what Sister Vasola was talking about and how what Akanke just commented about is kind of coming from where Sister Vasola was coming from to a certain extent, because what we're talking about is when we draw this line of demarcation and say these people have become such as scaries and zombies that we're no longer going to try and, at least save 1 or 2. So all I'm saying is that, certainly we, because I'm all for that, participating with the police to keep this place safe. First of all, we have to deal with that first. We have to deal with the fact of the immediate danger. And if participating with the police, we can't exclude that. We see somebody get shot, we want them off of the street. If they're going to go around killing people, and then you tell the police who shot them. Black people have got to start cooperating with the police in that regard. But at the same time, we got to reach out to those kids, to some of those people. We can't forget that at one point, Malcolm was on the point of becoming an Ascari or a zombie, but he went through a resurrection and became almost like a savior to his people. And I'm sure that there's people out there with those kind of gifts, those kind of ideas, who are running around blind, shooting at people and laughing because they're being shot because they've just been misled. So we've got to address that too.
And I don't think, and we're certainly not saying to discount folks. It's just that I think the first priority is protecting ourselves,
I agree.
our community.
I totally agree with that.
And as much as we can do to provide assistance or make other resources available, one of those two. So in terms of some solutions, we talked about maybe plexiglass as one of a larger comprehensive solution to leading an effort to beautify this corridor. That's a major effort that would be very beneficial for us. We talked about occasionally having some folks just walk the neighborhood, not knowing it. Most folks who work and can't do it every day. But if it could be an occasional piece, at least for the next maybe, a couple of weeks or so, that might be beneficial. That we should have some sort of uniform, whether it's like a Wolves Day shirt was very consistent. I think just that consistency of uniform makes it, makes folks a little more respectful of that. And those are little small pieces. Mama Makini and then Sister Facilitates.
All of the things that we just talked about are extremely important. What Sister Basola was saying was like, our children did not get what they should have got in the public school system, are not gonna get it. So the Simbas, the Hawks, those kinds of things need to come back. These are our children. This is our public school system. Everybody can't afford $600 or $700 to send their child to be like home a day. And we have to understand where the parents of these children, they didn't get it. Sister Kanke, these girls having babies are looking for love, are looking for recognition, like everybody. We're all looking for love and protection. But nobody, and what Sister Tracy said, I went out to the car a few minutes ago to get some plates out of the car, and a brother with a hoodie on was walking past, and I said hello. Sister Kanke and were out there when the sister was going to church, so to the other church. So we need to get not only AT&T, but we need to get these other churches involved. We need to do like little things. People can, I'm terrified sometimes when I come to these stores. I come and they driving like this, and I'm like, why? And I'm like, they want to be recognized. They want somebody to say, I count. I mean something. We here will say, know who and whose we are. So we don't need that. But all these people out here, and instead of being especially afraid of them, we have to talk to them. Like the Kanke say, when I'm here in the daytime and I see somebody walk past, I do smile at them. I'll say something. Because this is a place that I'm coming. So I want that to happen. But we need to do, again, the little things. But I totally concur with Brother Shambo said. Stray bullets have no names. And see, when you're just shooting haphazardly, my grandson and I were coming from a basketball game. I went to the basketball game down East 14th. I was like, I don't want to do that coming back. So I came back round through Barroncroft. I saw the blue fire come out of the gun, Baba. I smelled the sulfur, the most awful thing that has ever happened to me in my life. And what happened was a car in front of me was being shot at, right here on 89th by that Catholic church. We were in the middle, and the car behind me was doing the shooting. I looked in my rear view mirror and saw the guy up out of the window, pow, 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 in the car in front of me. I didn't panic. I said, oh my Lord. And I pulled over into the bus lane, and they went past. The car in front of me kept going. The car was doing the shooting, turned left. And I was sitting there, I was taking my pulse. And I had my babies in the backseat. I was like, not with me and my babies. You can take me, but you can't mess with my babies. But when the car that was doing the shooting passed by me, Baba Jahi, I smelled the sulfur. I had never experienced that before. I'm shaking like a leaf. And I was like, and the kids, when my babies heard it, they was like, Granny, they're shooting, get down, get down. I couldn't get down, I was driving. But I just slowly pulled over. And I was like, my goodness. Yeah. So I go to 108, drop him off, and I was like, Tabari, let's go home. Let's go home. So again, these are our babies. These babies belong to somebody. And you know, we can't throw them out with the dishwater. So, like Akake said, we have to talk to them, you know, and let them know. If they come in our neighborhood, we have to say that. You know, we have to say, you know, don't do this here. And sometimes they will move. Sometimes they won't. I saw a man with a bottle in his hand leaning up against the wall this morning on the way to Wasay. And he was like, hey. I was like, no. I didn't say anything. God bless him. God bless him. Because we have to send them the blessings so that maybe, somehow, some way, they're going to wake up. We have to do something for these people because we're out here on the streets with them. So
we got to get into the neighborhood.
Getting other churches involved, being on AT&T, all of that stuff.
I want to say one thing that Bible Choir says all the time in terms of supporting and serving more kids. He says a lot of times we just need to house some of these kids in a good way. There was a school that came to my attention just real quickly recently, which is a school called Eastside college preparatory high school, something like that. I believe they're in EPA, and it's a boarding school. It's a combination. It's folks that just come and drop off, but they also have a boarding component that was just created within the last 2 or 3 years. It's a pretty new school. What's amazing about it, though, is the fact that it is tuition free.
Wow.
So they do all their fundraising, solicit corporate donors, county-based donors to supply all this money to be able to supply tuition for all the kids to come for free, and it serves largely Hispanic and blacks.
Wow.
So I'm just saying, I mean, so the notion of, yeah, there are babies, we need to somehow be able to at some point take care of these babies along with their parents too.
Yes.
So the soul and just Tracy, you're gonna close us out.
Okay. What I want to say about the suggestions that have come up about we have to go out. Yeah, we can't be trying to be island within all of this. And I think there are already some things that Brother Cinnabar mentioned. I mean, why can't we have an extension of Iliomide Day in some other programs, like rites of passage programs for the children in the community, and get other, I know that you're small staff, I know that our resources for the schools are limited, but why can't we build that? We're trying to build this community. I mean, just, you know, in terms of the small number of people who are here today, to build it so that it will go on, because, you know, for generations. Why can't we reach out and have a program, a rites of passage program, where we began to get some of these baby kids in and teach them an alternative way?
Yeah.
Why can't we do that in the community? And then the other thing is, why is it that other communities can get services from the city? Now, I'm not against the police protecting us. I'm against the police being our enemy. But why can't we, en masse, demand more police presence in this community? Why can't we demand more involvement from the Streets and Sanitations Department to clean up our communities? And I'm not saying just here where we are, but everywhere. In Chicago, in any community that is populated predominantly by people of African descent, the same conditions happen. Because people don't call the city. They don't stay on their back about having protection in their community. These people are not going to do it. We have to do it. Yes, people who are aware have to do it. And because it's these people who feel that they don't have any rights, don't feel that they have any access to the resources. They're not going to reach for that. So I think that those are two things that we can do. We can promote demanding services in the community, and we can also develop programs. We have people here who teach drum, who teach music. You know, we can have rites of passage. All of those things. We can reach out and start working with the people so that they'll know what we stand for and serve as a model for a different way of life.
I think
You're gonna close us out.
it's interesting that we've had a lot of really good suggestions for long-term actions and activities, and short-term as well, which are very important. And obviously, there's a great need. The interesting thing that didn't come up, and from me either, because I also offered my suggestion, is I don't know if I missed it while I was in the kitchen sneaking food, but I didn't hear anybody mention prayer. And so when we talk about, you know, our force field, we talk about the divine, we talk about the Most High, we talk about the oneness of all life, we talk about the one mind, the one life, one spirit. Okay, well then now, you know, just like we said during our prayer, that it's time for us to really practice, put those things into practice. And so one of the things that like True Vine Church does, which is very impressive, is they go out every Saturday to a place where somebody has been shot, and they hold up signs that says, somebody died here, you should care. And when people are driving by, they stand there for an hour every Saturday at 11 a.m. And they do that. You know, we can join in their effort, but we can also follow their model. Why not go out every week and do a prayer-related activity here in this area to say, we are involved, we are here. You know, they also hand out information about services that are connected to the root causes of community violence, which are typically poverty related. They hand out resources or resource lists saying, if you're looking for a job, you can go here. If you got a felony, you can, and you need work, you can go here. So they're offering real alternatives and real suggestions and real help. And I think that, so infusing whatever we do with prayer and also with real solutions to the tangible problems that we're facing, because there are a lot of resources out there. People just don't necessarily know where to find them. But I think those will also be important components.
Yeah, and I think we did the Peace March. It was maybe 4 or 5
Spiritual
years ago.
walkers. Yeah, we did the
It was a
spiritual
long
walkers,
time
but
ago.
we were in West Oakland.
We were also here too. We did here as well too.
Okay, maybe I joined after.
And that was real good. That's something we could do again. Somebody mentioned even doing drum circle up here in the corner.
Yes.
Put a banner on 1850's fence. What they gonna say?
Yes.
And do a drum circle right here in the corner.
Right.
Get to the church involved. Do drum circle and prayer on a Saturday, Sunday, whenever. I think images. This is from Tracy. Did this work right here? That's Tracy's work. And I think we talk about healing. Sing our kids in the yard is healing. Right? Seeing images like this is healing. To know that what's possible for all of us. So I think we had a lot of good ideas. There are actually actionable things that we can do. I believe so. Yeah.
On the outside of the building, we just have to
get the.
Or y'all just have to figure out how to put some grommets and then figure out how to hang it.
Cool. So I would say let's continue that. I'm gonna take these ideas that we talked about. I'll write those pieces up, see what folks can do what and when, and let's actually act on these things. I know.
Service in the parking lot.
Service in the parking lot. Open the gate up.
Yeah.
Cool. Straight from the circles up.
All right. So this is the time when we open the doors of our community even wider. They're always open for anyone who is not currently a member to join. This is a community of workers, and we can't have a community without people. So please feel free to join us if you have not already done so. And lastly, it's time for us to come together for our circle prayer. So if we could come to the front of the room, everybody, come to the front of the room and join hands.
You're not gonna play for us? Lift every voice.
Well, we'll close first.
Lift every voice.
We need a sister between Baba Ty. Can we get a sister between Baba Ty and Baba Jumbo?
A couple of sisters, okay.
The extra sisters.
So,
all right, lift every voice and sing.
Lift every voice and sing, till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the roaring sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
And now to those upon whose shoulders we stand, those who shroud us constantly in protection, faith, love, and light.
Yes.
We recognize that we are one people,
having
one faith,
one
aim, one destiny. And let us call on the name of the Most High that we recognize in this community. We all say, you are the most beautiful people on the face of this earth.
Where'd you go?
You didn't want to pray, that's why you know.
Bring my car back.
Well, wonderful. Well, happy birthday, Bakari.
As soon as he wants some arm protection,
know it's not brand, right? Furniture store. I'll be there. I trust it. I gave my earbuds, but I think it'll I do understand. I showed to shop the last I ain't trying to. No wonder you can't let that boy go off the rails.